Hey guys, John here with RealTruck.com. Today I want to show you how to install this Curt 2-inch front receiver hitch on this 2016 Ford F-150. Alright guys, you can see here we've got everything out of the box. Comes complete with everything we need to put this onto our truck. Comes with, of course, our Class 3 2-inch receiver hitch. Comes with our instruction sheet, the bolts, the nuts, some spacers, and the pieces that are going to go inside the frame for our bolts to attach to. And also these really nifty cool things here, which are actually, I'll show you how these work, but they're designed to put these bolts in and pull them through the holes in the frame. So let's get this on the truck. Okay, there's a couple of ways we can go about putting our hitch onto our truck. One of them is that these come with a factory valance that sticks down here. Now you can either, if you want to, cut your valance so that the square tubing for your hitch will stick through, or you can do like we did and just go ahead and take the valance off. And once you get that, then you're ready to start putting your hitch up into place. So let's get that in there. All right, so we have our front receiver hitch up in place in the truck. Now we're ready to start putting our bolts in. But before we do that, we need to get them set up and ready to go. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take one of these plates and we're going to put it over our bolt just like this. And then these wires that come with, I was going to show you guys what those are for, and this is what they're for. You want to just screw the bolt into the wire, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to be able to use this wire to fish it through the frame and pull the bolt through the hole where we need to attach our hitch to. So we're going to get these all ready to go here, and then we'll go back over to the truck and I'll show you guys how to do this. And now that we have our hitch up under our truck ready to finish putting it into place, we need to, before we do that, take our bolts, our spacers with our fish wire and pull those through the holes and get those ready so we can bolt this on once we have it completely in the place where it's going to sit. Now the front one, you can see here that you're going to use your bolt, your flat spacer, and also this round spacer, and we're going to just put that all up in place into this hole. And when we do that, we're going to leave this fish wire sticking out because we need to pull the end of this through the hole in our hitch so we can pull our bolt and such into place to put our nut on it. So let's get this up in there. So what we're going to do with our back one is we're going to put it through the same hole that we put our front one in, and we're going to slide it to the back towards the rear hole. Now what I have, and which is kind of helpful, is a lighted pick so we can look up in here and see where our wire is so we can grab a hold of it to pull it out of here. Okay guys, once we have our wire fished through the slots in the mount for our hitch, then what we need to do is just get it lined up and in place and pull the bolts through. And I'm just going to go ahead and jack it up here a little bit and get it lined up. And then once we have it where it's in place, then we can pull our bolts through just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach our nuts to them and then keep a hold of the bolt and attach the nut to it. Once your bolts are all tightened up and in place, you can go ahead and let everything down that's holding it up. And that's really how quick and easy it is to install the Curt 2-inch front receiver hitch onto your truck. So remember guys, until next time, happy motoring.